She walked into the mist of Shenandoah alone, experienced, prepared, and confident. Hours later, her phone pinged from a sealed fire tower 7 miles off trail. What searchers found next wasn't a body, but a message scrawled in panic. Something walks here that shouldn't, and beside it, a footprint too large to be human. Rangers won't talk about what else they found near the tower, but those who've heard the whispers say she was taken by something that watches the lonely, something the forest hides. Elise Marie Olinger was not the kind of person who made mistakes in the wilderness. She was calculated, methodical, and more experienced than many rangers. Raised at the edge of Roanoke by a father who worked trailside maintenance and a mother who loved folklore, Elise was part trail tech and part mystic soul. She had a strong academic background in emergency medicine and worked as a trauma nurse at Carilion Clinic, known for keeping a level head even when ER chaos spun out of control. Coworkers said she had a sixth sense about patients, arriving in rooms before monitors beeped. But close friends, especially fellow hikers, noticed a growing shadow in her personality in 2013. The sudden death of her dog Riley seemed to push her into an emotional quiet. Her solo hikes became longer, more remote. Her journal, found later by her sister, hinted at dreams she couldn't shake. Sometimes I walk and I don't remember where I was, but the woods do. I wake up with leaves in my shoes. On October 9th, she drove to Skyland Resort and checked into cabin B6. Her room key was never turned in. Her last words to the front desk clerk, "Hawksbill by sunset. If I'm not back, blame the view." But she never came back. Shenandoah National Park is more than a vacationer's retreat. It's a living monument, older than memory and deeper than its 500 miles of trails reveal. Beneath the mossy stones and whispering canopies lie the forgotten bones of history, decaying moonshiner shacks, hermit cabins hidden off trail, and burial mounds that predate Jamestown. Before it was a park, Shenandoah was a patchwork of isolated homesteads and unspoken traditions. Some ruins still stand, fire-blackened chimneys, rotting cellars, and root-bound crosses carved into trees. Rangers know the places to avoid, valleys where GPS cuts out, trails where compasses spin, groves where the fog never lifts. Local legend speaks of veil winds, a mist that rolls in without warning, cold and deliberate, as if the forest itself is closing a door. Archaeologists have confirmed native ceremonial sites in the park's remotest areas, but some mounds are left undisturbed, whispered to be places the elders wouldn't walk. And then there are the echoes. In the deeper hollows, they don't bounce back right. Sometimes they don't come back at all. This isn't just preserved wilderness. It's a place that remembers what we forget and chooses what to return. Elise planned to summit Hawksbill, the highest peak in the park. But the routes leading there pass near unmarked trails, paths that have no official names, but which locals call things like Raven's Corridor, the Hollow Mouth, or the Old Wire Path. A ranger later told reporters off-record, "There are places around Rocky Branch where your compass spins and your flashlight flickers even with fresh batteries. Places where deer won't go, where birds stop singing." One of those places, the Rocky Branch Fire Tower, an eerie metal skeleton from the 1930s, officially sealed in the 70s. But according to multiple reports, it's not empty. Surveillance captured Elise at 11:07 a.m., entering Lower Hawksbill Trail, alone, focused, and moving confidently. She had a water bladder in her backpack, first aid kit, compact hiking stove, a knife, her phone, and compass. By October 10th, her room was untouched. By the 11th, her Subaru Outback was still in the parking lot. By the 12th, the search began. SAR teams launched Protocol Beta, reserved for trained solo hikers believed to be in life-threatening scenarios. Over the next 6 days, they used FLIR-equipped helicopters, mounted search dogs, infrared drones, ground grid teams, undercover rangers on civilian trails in case of abduction, but not a single trace. Then something impossible. At 3:12 p.m. on October 12th, a cell ping from Elise's phone registered 74 miles northeast of her last known location, within 300 yards of the Rocky Branch Fire Tower. The time made no sense. For her to reach that location in under 4 hours would require bushwhacking through steep terrain, no visible trails, and heavy fog. Rangers who investigated reported heavy EM interference, scrambled GPS signals, and strange static on handheld radios. It wasn't until October 30th, 21 days later, that they found anything. Volunteers combing the region around Rocky Branch stumbled on a steep ravine covered in dense, thorny underbrush. Lodged in a tangle of blackberry bramble was Elise's tan backpack, weathered but mostly intact. Its contents chilled even the most seasoned rangers. Her cell phone, wiped of all data, no photos, contacts, or call logs. A notebook, mostly water-damaged, except one legible line, "Something walks here that shouldn't." A folded triangle made of medical tape with her name on it. The fold style matched symbols used in Appalachian folk wards against spirits. Nearby, just 15 feet away, was a deep boot print, 15 inches long. Elise wore a size 7. There were no drag marks, no other prints, no signs of struggle. The scent dogs? They refused to approach. One howled until its handler pulled it away. Another vomited. They reacted like the ground itself was diseased, one volunteer later said. November 12th, 2013. Hiker Dennis Keller spotted a barefoot woman in a gray fleece standing motionless near an outcropping above White Oak Canyon. He called out. She turned, but had no visible eyes. When he climbed toward her, she was gone. In the dirt, he found a folded note, "Don't follow the call." In January 2014, park maintenance crew arrived at Rocky Branch to inspect damage from a fallen tree. At 4:41 a.m., one reported screams coming from inside the tower. Panicked, female, repeating a single phrase, "I'm not alone." When they pried open the rusted access door, they found nothing, just claw-like gouges in the interior wall. No tracks, no animals. Months later, in July 2015, Elise's sister Leah received a voicemail at 3:03 a.m. "It's me. Don't come here." The number? Disconnected since 2012. Authorities couldn't trace it. Phone records showed no call had ever been made. Then, in 2019, trail cam footage reviewed for animal migration showed a tall, emaciated humanoid figure standing motionless in the fog near Stony Man Trail. No clothes, no hair, just long limbs and an unmoving stare. It stood in place for 2 hours and 18 minutes before vanishing in a single frame. There have been even more creepy and unsettling theories. The Appalachian Mimic, a lesser-known folklore creature said to lure hikers with familiar voices. It can imitate loved ones. It's drawn to emotional vulnerability, especially grief. Elise, mourning Riley, would be an ideal target. Some locals claim the Rocky Branch Fire Tower is not abandoned, but inhabited, by a presence known as the Watcher, said to collect hikers, not kill them. It feeds on memory. Victims are seen again, but changed. A fringe theory suggests Elise was abducted by a hidden collective living deep within the forest. Known only as the Unseen, they practice arcane rituals near decommissioned towers, but no proof has ever surfaced. Multiple reports in Shenandoah describe lost time, warped perception, or entire hour gaps that can't be explained. Did Elise fall through a rift, a slip in the natural order? Or worse, is she still slipping? There is no conclusive evidence. No remains, no confirmed sightings, just fragments, whispers, and electronic echoes. Even years later, rangers tread lightly around Rocky Branch. Some say if you stand near the fire tower at night, you can hear breathing beneath your feet. Some say Elise isn't missing, just misplaced, and others believe something ancient woke up. Sometimes the woods take, but sometimes they trade. Would you answer a voice calling from the trees? Would you go alone, knowing something might be waiting? If this story unsettled you, good, because more are coming. Each year, experienced hikers vanish without a trace from national parks like Shenandoah, Smoky Mountains, and Glacier, and their names are rarely in the news. Do you believe in cryptids, in mimicry, in voices that aren't real? Like this video if you've ever heard something in the woods you couldn't explain. Comment below. What do you think happened to Elise? Subscribe for weekly cryptid encounters, true disappearances, and haunted wilderness tales.